Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, your home for all content Lord of the Rings home. Okay, I want to talk about gold today, and specifically the gold associated with upgrading glyphs. When we originally got this information, like when it was told to us in the dev Q&A and what I said in my dev Q&A video, we were kind of led to believe that these were in fact the cumulative cost. So to get to level 5 only took 2,300 gold. That is in fact not the case. They've corrected that. So sorry about that. And I think people have corrected that. I did it in the pinned comment. When people have been talking about it after the fact, they've realized this is in fact, a step by step. So actually to get to level 5, you need 5,300 gold, not 2,300, which makes the sell cost go from 90% to 40% sort of a return if you don't like what you get. So with that shift, I thought 90% was, wow, that's incredible. That's really good. This is something that's it's not going to be a gold sink like I thought. With the shift to 40% return on the cost and 5,300 to upgrade to level 5, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of math, do some spreadsheet stuff, and figure out how much of a gold sink, or try and gauge how much of a gold sink this is going to be. We're getting back to our roots. We're doing more spreadsheets because we're sheet heads. No, that doesn't sound right. We're getting sheet-faced. We're gonna have to workshop that one. Okay, so I basically have reproduced here that chart that I just showed you with sell amount and upgrade cost and total cost being the important thing here. And at level 5, right, you get to see all 4 secondaries. So I then just kind of wanted to characterize that in terms of or contextualize it is the word rather, in terms of what other upgrades you can do in the game and how many essentially 5 level glyphs and level 10 glyphs you could get for those same amount of gold. So this is all napkin math. It's not precise, but it should just kind of give you a sense of what we're talking about in terms of scale here. So 5 to 6 star, 6 to 7 star, upgrade to G8. You're getting less than 10 level 10 glyphs, but level 5 glyphs, you're getting around, 50 to 100. And then obviously upgrading a character straight from G1 to G10 is like 1.5 million gold. It's insane. It obviously depends on the character, but that's a lot of level 5 glyphs and even a lot of level 10 glyphs that you can get up all the way there. So upgrading to G10 to be able to access the level 10 glyph, you actually can get a lot of level 10 glyphs just for gold. We're not talking about spells, just for gold here to kind of get onto that character, which is good. Means you're going to be able to, take a lot of those glyphs up. G7 to G8 and G8 to G9, similar. I think the skills are something that people overlook a decent amount. Going full skills like 6s, with and without leader, is a chunk of change, right? 1.3 mil, 1.5 mil is a lot of money. And so you can actually get a lot of glyphs out of that for just basically the same amount of gold. Okay, but let's take into consideration something that people I think normally do, which is getting just level 4s on the skills, kind of as a baseline before they go all the way up. It's still about 54 level 5 glyphs. And again, I'm telling you about level 5 glyphs because that's when you're going to be able to reveal all of the secondary stats. So speaking of, let's talk about probabilities. This actually took me a long time to figure out how to solve this problem specifically. It's not so easy, but you have to use this thing. So if you want to do it yourself, check this out. Just go to this Wikipedia page. You can essentially plug the numbers in yourself. But the idea is I'm essentially always taking a glyph to level 5 in this little scenario here because I want to reveal all their secondaries. And if I am just aiming for one secondary, I have one secondary that I want. What are the chances that my glyph, when I upgrade it, is going to have it? It's about 40%. You increase to 2 secondaries that you want, goes down to about 13%. 3 secondaries is about 3%. And if you have a list of 4 secondaries that you want, right, what are the chances of getting all of those secondaries when you hit upgrade to level 5? It's about 1 in 210, or about 0.47% chance, right? So that means that on average, you would need to upgrade 210 glyphs to get one with all of the secondaries that you want. So that is on the order of upgrading a character to basically full skills. Something like that, right? And then this last column here, let me backstep a little bit. But if you just have one secondary that you want, maybe you're just going for speed or something like that, then the average number of tries is about 3. I'm going to round up there, right? Which is not bad and very reasonable. Even 2 secondaries that you want, I feel like is very reasonable. About 8. That's a lot less costly than basically all this other stuff up here. So this bottom row I have here, gold spent, is essentially sort of the net gold you spent. And so what I mean by that is you, after some average amount of tries, you got the glyph that you wanted that has the number of secondaries that you want, right? Okay, and now you've sold all the other glyphs. How much gold did you end up spending to get to that? So this is, again, based on an average number of tries. And so it's about 11K for just one secondary that you want. And then it kind of increases up to about 680K to get a secondary that you want with all 4. So this is, I think, the important number here. If you are trying to get a glyph that has all of the secondaries that you want, I think on average, you will spend about 680K to get that secondary. There's obviously a few caveats here because it's an average. This is over a long term, you would probably approach this. And this number, of course, takes into consideration the fact that you are selling those glyphs. What it doesn't do is like describe the beginning when glyphs are just released, right? Because you could be upgrading a glyph and looking for all 4 secondaries for one particular character, but maybe you get 4 secondaries that you think would actually work on another character. So in that sense, this is kind of like, okay, I have glyphs on my characters, and now I'm hunting very specifically for the 4 secondaries I want. The last piece I want to say then is, this is just getting to level 5, right? These aren't even doing the rolls on the secondaries to kind of increase their stats further. Just a little bit of a gut check, I would say. So, how is this going to affect our gold? Well, I think you have to reasonably assume that glyphs are going to increase your raid score. So I have raid scores here for my current and my free-to-play accounts. Sorry, main account here, free-to-play accounts currently. And then what I did, which is, again, we're doing napkin math here, I essentially just doubled my current score. And I said, yes, with glyphs on my teams, I will be able to get double what I currently have. I think that's actually a relatively okay assumption for my free-to-play account. Like going from, some teams going from diff 3 to diff 4, hopefully, but a decent number of teams going just from diff 1 to diff 2 or diff 2 to diff 3, where the increases in scores are times 3, as opposed to the increase from diff 3 to diff 4, which is like, what, 900K to 1.5 mil, so less than 2? So less of a good assumption, definitely for my main account, where I'm more in difficulty 3. That's fine. We're just doing napkin math here. Okay, so I have currently what I would get total for gold, right? These are the personal track for gold currently with glyphs. Currently and with glyphs. It's not a lot, right? So currently I'm getting about 847K for a whole raid. This includes the 300K in the guild box. With glyphs, if I double my score, I'm getting an increase in gold of about 287K, 300K, let's say. All right, for my main account, I'm getting an increase in gold of about 400K. So if we go back and look at this number here, where it's about 680K just to get to that level 5 glyph with all the 4 secondaries that we want, you're going to be able to do that every 1.5 weeks, essentially, is being able to upgrade those glyphs to what you really want. So I guess my initial advice to everybody is definitely don't focus on getting all 4 secondaries that you want. I think I've said it previously, and I'll reiterate here. I think a lot of people, including me, are going to have to sort of shift our mindset in not focusing primarily on the secondaries, which is a fun sentence to say. Instead, I think, and this is something the developer said, is that you should be focusing on your set bonuses first, and then your primary stats, and then the secondaries. And so I think, especially initially when we first get glyphs, and I don't think anybody wasn't not going to do this, but essentially just getting just getting glyphs on your characters is going to be the biggest priority in roughly the area that you want them to be, right? And then this math more, I would say, applies once we essentially have those glyph sets and you're sort of starting to hunt for the perfect glyph for your particular characters. So let's say you want to do your arena team, or you want to do like your Rivendell team, and you started to hunt for glyphs that match exactly this. The other interesting thing there is, of course, I didn't take into consideration the probability of like getting that glyph in the first place, but I just wanted to focus on gold cost for the time being, just to kind of gut check that. So when I was initially told that it was going to be 2,300, right, and there was going to be essentially a 90% return when you sold the glyph at level 5, I was very excited. I think this is definitely more realistic for the game economy, but to me, it still seems like a gold sink. And so I guess the last thing I'll leave you all with is I think you should just be careful and make sure you don't go absolutely crazy, and that's on upgrading glyphs to level 5, and make sure that you are kind of using them to the best of your ability. Starting off maybe going, okay, it has one secondary that I want, and then slowly building up your roster to have these extra secondaries that you want is probably a good idea. Taking it slow and steady, and not just, okay, I need to only hunt for the 4 secondaries that I want right off the bat. Because again, this doesn't even take into consideration the rolls that you would get on those secondaries. If you got all 4 secondaries, right, that you wanted, and then you upgraded to level 10, and every single roll on the secondaries is just like at the closer to the min than to the max, then still not a great glyph, right? So it's definitely going to take a long time to get these all upgraded to where we want. I think this is also probably going to be, it's a progression system, so I think it's definitely going to be something that separates big spenders from light spenders from free-to-play players. Just because they can have access to more gold, I would say, overall. And that means that they have the opportunity to upgrade more glyphs overall. Anyway, this is just kind of some napkin math and a spreadsheet that I wanted to get out and discuss. I feel okay about this, but definitely not as good as I was. So I'm just I'm a little bit more cautious about the gold cost of glyphs moving forward. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.